We are now live. We are now live. Look at the confirmations everywhere. It looks like it's working. I got to mirror the video. I think I have a better camera angle today that's making me happier or less unhappy. Yeah, hopefully you can hear me and I can hear you, and we are ready to do this. So let's do this. We have people joining our rooms. We have Q in my ear. We tested it. It's working. Magical things are happening. What's wrong with the audio on IG? Q.
It just sounds really loud and
So
echoey
let me
and like
tone it
voice.
down a bit. IG is coming through on which wire? That's the red wire. That's actually, no, that's really on 0. Let me know if it gets better. I'm turning it up. It was actually zeroed out. So if it's zeroed out, that can't be good. Now it's at a quarter. So let me know if it's any better. But we're still testing out this audio thing. Guys and gals and peeps and friends who are on Instagram right now, let me know if the audio is okay. We're messing around with it. We're trying to make it work. And just going into the chat here, we have Big Jeff Fresh and YouTube who just popped in. We have A Topple with a good morning. We have Will Div with a good morning. We have, is that it? Those are the good mornings. Actually, no, we've got some stuff. Well, here we go. We'll put it in the Q&A. And for anyone who doesn't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I am a police constable with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada. And I go live on social media and answer your traffic and police questions. That's what we're going to do for an hour today. An hour, a whole hour. And yeah, we're excited to be here. We always are. This is a lot of fun. If you've got traffic and police questions, feel free to ask them. You can put them in the Q&A. You can also put them into our chat, and we're experimenting. I'd be really curious to know if you can see our Q&A function. We're working with TikTok to make sure this is working. We're part of an experimental group because there's new functions coming in Q&A that are not, and they took it all down. Like everybody on the planet lost their Q&A, and we were trying to figure out what happened, and they put us they turned it on, they turned it off. I don't know what's going on. Do you see it? Do you not see it? Let us know. Curious to know what you see. Where should I sit? I think I'll sit here. It's there. Q says she sees it. That's cool. Can you ask questions? Interesting. Because some people can't. I asked the NYPD questions yesterday just to be testing. I was a testing tester, and yeah, I haven't had a response yet. I can't even see my own questions. So, but enough of that. Let's not get into the deep dive of stuff and things. Let's talk about other stuff. New functions like more than 50 characters. Is that a function request, Jeff, or is that actually what's happening? Does it work? I don't know. Let's see here. I have got a whole bunch of stuff just updated. Ooh, scrolling back. So, Ms. Zerov, I can't pronounce your last name in small print right now. Quick question. What's your quick question? Morning officer from Kawartha Lakes. Good morning, Kawartha Lakes. I got a friend of mine who used to work with me in the motor squad who went, he's now a police officer in your neck of the woods. Karina Gomez, good morning. And let's see here. We've got working for me. I'm not sure what that is. We'll come back to it. Good morning from Ghana. Hey, I think you're the first person to ever say hello from Ghana to us on the show. We are somewhat of an international show now. It's pretty exciting. We have Ireland, Australia. We had some German folks. Who else? Q. Anybody else? We had somebody. Who was it from yesterday? Tasmania. I think it was Tasmania. But we love it. We love the international love. Okay, we've got a good morning from Raj. We have Raphael. Good morning. Good morning to you. And Jennifer says, "You're my favorite, honestly." Well, thank you very much. Up until now, it was just my wife and kids who thought I was, their favorites, and now I can add you to the list. Thanks very much. Love the support. Let's say Nina. Oh, Nina followed us. Okay, thanks for the follow. My friend got caught for stunt driving. What should he do? Well, stunt driving could be a number of different things, and let's just assume the simplest is that they were going over 40 over the posted limit under the speed of 80, or they were going over 50 over a speed limit over 80. Either way, they might want to get some representation. It's a serious charge. It comes with a $615 fine, a 14-day impound of their vehicle, a 30-day suspension of their license, and that's before they even get to court. So they should really, or at least the points, and then there's points. Did I say points already? I may have been talking about two different fines. The points are actually quite serious. In any case, they should consult legal counsel, maybe get representation. They could certainly do it on their own. They don't have to get a lawyer, but it might help them out. Okay. Let's see here. What happened to accidents in parking lots? Both drivers responsible for damages. So Ontario is what is it called? What is it called? I can't think of the terminology for it. You're basically, your insurance company is going to pay your no fault. That's what I was thinking. In a situation like that, you're going to be responsible for your stuff. They're going to be responsible for their stuff. You still have to do a collision report, and there may be fault determined by the insurance companies, but effectively, from your perspective, you're going to be taking care of your own stuff by your insurance. It's lots of fun. It's a confusing concept because no fault isn't really no fault. I don't know how the terminology works because someone's going to determine fault. We always determine fault. They just might determine that one is more responsible than the other. If you have any insurance folks, if Tassos is in the room, he could weigh in on this because he's an insurance underwriter. He's a professional. Okay. Now, I've been hanging around in the chat this morning, but fact is, I don't normally do this. I'm normally right into the Q&A and we just bump right into it. So if you have questions and you want to make sure that I see them, please use the Q&A function. Generally speaking, the chat is run by our moderators. Moderators are not police officers. They are volunteer members of our group. We've got this group on TikTok, and it's a community, and they just come together and they help everybody. They know lots of stuff because they're here every day. So through osmosis, they have become traffic professionals. But if you have questions and you got to have it answered by me, put it in the Q&A. That's where I hang out. And if there's something, because you cannot bring it up in the Q&A because you can't use that function based on the way that you are connecting to TikTok, let them know, and they will Q will voice it out to me and let me know. Here, what's the rules on shoes when driving? There are no rules when in regards to shoes and driving in Ontario. Other jurisdictions may have different rules. However, in Ontario, you can be barefoot, you can wear high heels, you can wear flats, you can wear sandals. Now, in terms of what's the best suggestion, don't wear flip-flops. Don't wear things that come off your feet easily. What could happen is your foot could slide off, or the footwear could slide off, become lodged behind your brake pedal or gas pedal. You could have an issue there where you cannot function your vehicle or operate your vehicle properly and safely. So it could lead to problems. But at the end of the day, there's no law specifically governing what you must wear on your feet while driving in Ontario. Other places may change. Are you a sheriff? No, I am not. I am a police officer. I work for the Toronto Police Service. It's the third largest police service in Canada. We are the largest municipal police service in Canada. So we have a federal police service called the RCMP. Then we have provincial police, and in Ontario, that's the Ontario Provincial Police. And then you have us, the Toronto Police, and we govern, or at least manage the policing of the city of Toronto. Yeah, they call it a city. It's amazing. But there are sheriffs. They're just not the same policing role as they would have in the United States. It's amazing how, and we're going to get more into this because I'm reaching out to some friends in police services south of the border to discuss the differences, because we do things differently. We are very different in the way we structure our policing and the way laws are. For instance, in Canada, murder, for instance, is a federal crime. It's the Criminal Code of Canada. It's the same everywhere. But in the United States, every state has different laws, and they are state laws. Whereas, anyway, very different, very interesting. I think we can have some great conversations about that. Now, someone from there's two questions going on here. Are you ex-military? That's coming in from the chat, so that's a great one. Let's address that now. Today is the last day that I'll be wearing these epaulets that are printed on, or at least embroidered on, camouflage material. Why am I wearing them? It's because I support our veterans and our active service members across, either deployed or on training. The fact is, these people stand up, take a job to defend our country, and militaries like the United States military, your military does the same to protect its citizens and the interests of good people everywhere. Why is it important? I support them. Why is it important to support them? Because they're doing a job that we wouldn't be able to do ours without them. It's very honorable. Now, why am I wearing them? Because I bought them so I could support, for the month of November, support veterans programs in the city of Toronto. So the chief authorized their use for the month of November, and that's it. Then I have to go back to my regular epaulets, and sad day because I really enjoy wearing them. But the last day I can wear them according to our rules and regs. The other question that came up was, do our tax dollars pay for you to sit on TikTok? Yeah, I think I can read that properly. Do our tax dollars pay you to sit on TikTok? As a matter of fact, they do. I work for the Toronto Police Service. I work in a specific area of traffic services being a citywide unit that does all the investigations in relation to traffic collisions, enforcement, fatalities, reconstruction. We do everything that involving motor vehicles and vehicles, pedestrians, even train collisions when it comes to pedestrian death. Now, do I get paid to sit here? Yeah, I'm on duty. I start my day at 6 o'clock in the morning. I work an 8-hour shift, and I work in an office environment. I work specifically in traffic safety programs. And what do? Well, we're involved with a lot of the outreach. We do the social media. We're involved with training and safety campaigns. And what I'm doing by being here on TikTok answering your questions is allowing you to have access to a police officer to have this chat so that we can get your questions answered. Normally, we do this in a local environment. I'd go to a trade show, a boat show, a motorcycle show, and I'd stand there and I'd wait for someone to come talk to me. I'd answer your questions, and then someone would walk away and ask the same question 5 minutes later. Well, here is an opportunity for 300 plus people currently on TikTok. We've got folks on Instagram. We have folks on YouTube, Facebook, let's say Twitter. We have, what else do we have? Let me throw my little graphic up. We have Twitch. We have, did I say LinkedIn, Twitch, YouTube? Yeah, we got them all. So the fact is, if you are here and you got questions, we've got answers. So let's talk about stuff. Let's go into the Q&A and get into it. Oh, and by the way, speaking of tax dollars at work, last week I interviewed the chief of our police service on our show. We were on TikTok and we were on YouTube and all the rest. It was great. Had a little bit of a technical issue with the audio, but we fixed that, and just amazing. Look forward to having him on again in the future. We're talking to some other very special guests coming up in the future, so we're having an exciting development where this is really taking off, and we're having a great time. Not to mention the fact that we're, I think, close to 360,000 followers now, which is just out of this world. Okay. What's your personal opinion on modified cars? Great question. Modified doesn't mean illegal. Now, if you're asking me about modified for the street, as long as it's legal, I've got no issue with it, and I think they look great. I'm a car guy. I'm a motorcycle guy. I wouldn't be in this job specifically focused on traffic if I wasn't into this stuff. That being said, I appreciate that if you want to go fast, you should take it to the track. It's not meant for the street. We don't want to put other people at risk. So if you want to go fast, but do it on a track. Do it where it's safe. If you want to modify it because you like making things your own, you want to be Picasso when it comes to the paint job on your car, or you want to lower it within the legal limits or raise it within the legal limits, have at it. I mean, it's great. I like being able to show off your personal flair on your vehicle. I support it. But if it's illegal, if it's unsafe, or if you're disrupting the ability of other people to enjoy their personal happiness, like your exhaust pipe sounds like it was a tin can from you like it, but nobody else likes it, and you're just torturing people. So when it comes to things like that, I'm not a big fan. So I don't think you have to sound loud to be cool, or to draw attention. And here's another thing: people always say, "Well, I got a Lamborghini, I got a Corvette. They're loud. They come out of the factory loud." And you know what? Sometimes they do. A 12-cylinder engine is going to make a little more rumble generally than a 4-cylinder Honda Civic, which is my favorite example. But you know what? A Honda Civic can get a loud exhaust pipe and be illegal, and you can drive your Lamborghini in first gear at 40K, revving it at red line, and you can get a ticket for that too. So it doesn't mean that you have to customize to get a ticket. It doesn't mean that that every customization job will create a situation where the police get involved. Everything within reason, and every situation is unique. But thanks for bringing that up. Okay. Can I pay? Oh, here. Can I pay to renew my G2 or do the test? So my understanding is if your G2 is expiring and you cannot get a G test, that you are able to retake your G2 test again, but you can't simply renew it. Now, here's something that you need to know. If you are an Ontario driver and you have a learner's permit, whether it be a G1 or G2, you have been extended. As long as your driver's license expires either expired after March 1st, 2020, or is going to expire before February 28th, you are covered right up until February 28th, 2020. Oh, sorry, forgive me. If it expired March 1st, 2020 or later, right up until December 31st, 2022. See, regular licenses expire February 28th. But but learner's permits are extended until December 31st, 2022. So if you're a driver who's trying to get your G, or your G2 for that matter, you are covered by an extension. Nothing to do on your end. It just happens automatically. Okay. What made you want to be a cop? Probably watching Chips as a kid. Now, when I was even younger, my mom bought me an electric, what are those things called? Those like not Fisher Price, Power Wheels. Back in the day, it wasn't Power Wheels, but I had a Power Wheels police motorcycle. So I blamed her for many years for my love of motorcycling and policing. But it was definitely reinforced by the fact that I watched Chips and I wanted to be either Poncherello or anyone of the team. I just wanted to go out and help people and ride a motorcycle doing it. And I got to do that. I was a motor cop for a number of years. I had a collision. That's actually the roundabout way is how I ended up becoming a cop on TikTok, because I'm not on the road right now due to the fact that I'm still recovering from an injury. Okay, let's see here. G license, 20 years old, is alcohol LI. The fact is you have to be 22 to have any alcohol in your system as a G-class license. If you are 21 and younger, you are considered a novice driver. You cannot have any alcohol in your system. Are airsoft guns illegal? My understanding, well, first of all, they're not firearms, so they're not specifically regulated as firearms unless they have a muzzle velocity over 500 feet per second. But that would make them a firearm, whether it be BB or airsoft. My understanding, muzzle velocity 500 feet per second, boom, you're a firearm and would require a license. That aside, airsoft isn't a problem, but if you walk around and wave something that looks like a gun, you're going to get charged and possibly arrested in the hardest of ways, because if somebody else thinks it's a gun, we treat it as a gun. So you have to be very careful. If you're going to transport those to a field where you're going to be playing competitively with airsoft, do it in a way that you don't create fear. Put it in a case. Can we drive a van on a G2? Yes, you can. You can drive any motor vehicle that falls under the G-class rating, and you can also tow. If you were towing, you can tow up to, I think, 4,600 kilos, which is before you'd need to have other things. So you have to make sure you're towing legally. But I brought up towing. You weren't asking towing. Vans are legal, yes. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, here. I want to use... What sound effect can we use for that? I got buttons that can press now. Underglow. What does this one do? Well, underglow? A laugh track? Okay, sorry. Underglow, I'm not making fun of underglow. It's just that it's one of those questions we always get. And underglow isn't specifically illegal, and it is something that you can have installed, but the use of it on the road might contravene other laws, may cause an issue, and, well, you might end up with a ticket. So I would suggest against it. Now, there are specific colors that are absolutely no-nos: red, green, blue. Those are restricted colors. Flashing lights are potentially a problem as well. Some people want it to sync with their music. All not good ideas. Now, again, install whatever you like. Use it on private property would be my suggestion. And good morning to Leo wife, my wife, who is coming in from Twitch. Good morning to my kids who might be watching too. Hey, guys. Okay. Let's go back here. There was a question here about I drive a commercial vehicle. Is it illegal? Is it legal to split lanes to maneuver and execute a wide turn? Well, there are big trucks. If you're saying go over or drive outside of the lane, if you've got a big rig and you've got to make a turn, you obviously have to go outside of your marked lane. And it's not against the law in Ontario to utilize more space. That doesn't make it in essence a improper turn. You are doing what you need to do to maneuver that corner. So I think that's what you're asking. So hopefully that's the answer you were looking for. Okay.
Question coming in from Instagram. You drink. My son is waiting for his full G test, but there are no dates for testing in the next year. How long does he have for extension?
The extension is good until December 31st, 2030. I was going to say 32. It's 22. And thanks for asking the question. But one of the reasons that there's no test is they don't release the entire year in advance. They release them in blocks. So check every day, throughout the day, every day. And I know that's work, but it's part of what you got to do, because it is first come, first serve. If they released the year would disappear. So check every morning. I have people saying 5 in the morning they get test dates and they're good to go. People are getting them next month. 2 months ago they were getting them a month later, a week later. There's cancellations. You got to be on it though to catch those breaks, those opportunities. But it's a great question, and thanks for asking it. What do you see when you run our plates? So generally speaking, we come back and we see the make, model, and owner of the vehicle. Now, there are other things that we have access to, so we can get if the registered owner has a record, we'll probably see that information pop up. And then the rest is all manual searches. So I pull someone over and you're not the driver. Now I'm going to do a search for the driver who gives me their driver's license. So, but generally speaking, it's all the information related to the vehicle. Okay. Can you arrest me for 49 dead people in my house? I think that would be something that would, definitely be on the radar. I personally wouldn't be the one doing it because I'm sitting here on TikTok. But if you want to give me your name and address, we can make sure someone comes over to arrest you. Okay. Camera ticket, entering in yellow, not red. So camera tickets are specifically red light camera tickets. Is it against the law to enter an intersection on the yellow? Depends. There is an offense for fail to stop for yellow, and that is going to be in a situation which requires a police officer to evaluate. And and for the person who was asking about sending his name or the dead bodies, call us. Don't write it online. We don't want you to get doxxed. Don't actually send me your address because you were joking, I'm hoping, and so was I. So going back to camera tickets, red lights they only get red lights if you enter or cross the line in a red situation. That's where that will do issuing you a ticket. Okay, Ryan Pinn, who is a instructor, he's a driving instructor out in Nova Scotia. He says they're booking into February in Sydney. So if you're in Nova Scotia, are you talking about, Ryan? Are you talking about booking tests or instruction? Curious. Okay.
There's a question in chat about construction zones. How would you suggest whether or not we can pass other cars if it doesn't start for another 10 kilometers?
Come again? It's what doesn't stop?
So apparently there's a lineup of cars for 10 kilometers, but the construction zone doesn't start for another 10 kilometers or marked. Can we pass those cars?
Like pass 10 kilometers of parked cars or stopped cars? I'm not going to give you a license to do that. It depends on what's marked there. I mean, if you're on a 2-lane road and it's bumper to bumper and there's nowhere to go, obviously you can't drive past 10 kilometers of cars. But you can pass in environments where it's safe to do so, depending on the environment, depending on the signage and the rules of the road you're on. So I need more information to give you clear advice, but 10 kilometers seems a little excessive. So maybe you can drill down to give me more of what you're talking about.
Another question in chat that can't hit the QA, sorry.
No problem.
I'm 16 with a permit and I drive with my 24-year-old brother with a license. Can I drive with him?
It depends on where you are and the rules of your area. So for Ontario, you'd need a G1. They would need a full G and 4 years experience, and their experience would be accumulated between G2 and G. So if you're outside of Ontario, the rules may be different for whether or not they can supervise you. But for Ontario, full G, 4 years experience, and that experience is from the start of their G2 issuance and continues, assuming they had no suspensions, because that would come off that qualifier time. Okay, speed cams, max speed before getting a ticket. This is a question we get on a regular basis, and the answer is, I don't know. It's the City of Toronto that supervises that particular program, and we've never been told what the actual number is, which is great because plausible deniability. I'm not holding it from you. I just don't know it. Now, I will tell you that it's low because I've heard people complain of getting tickets that are a small number over. Is it so low that it's 1 kilometer? No, I don't believe it is. I think it's a few kilometers over, and the real deal is don't speed. Okay. What do you recommend new drivers drive? What do you recommend new drivers driving in snow? Okay, for new drivers or old drivers, any driver who's going to be driving in snow, hopefully you're driving a vehicle equipped with snow tires. They make a considerable difference when driving in cold weather and snow, but mostly cold. The rubber compound stays flexible in colder temperatures, and that's a big thing. It also deals with getting rid of snow and debris in the way that its tread travels across the road. So that is a good thing to start, make your life easier right off the bat. 2, drive or don't drive beyond your abilities and the conditions of the road. If you're driving in snow, it's not going to handle the way you were handling when you were on dry road. Don't expect it to. It's just not going to happen. So slow down. and slow down. That's going to be the best advice you can have, because when you go fast, whether you have a 4x4 or a two-wheel drive vehicle, loss of traction is going to be loss of traction on all your tires, and you're going to be going nowhere but into the stick. Okay, so that's the biggest thing. Slow down, drive to your ability, and hopefully you have a vehicle that has snow tires or winter tires. And Linda says, good morning, and good morning to you too, Linda. Nice to have you back. Linda popped in yesterday with a hello. Let's see here. Do cops have the same authority when off duty? Well, I can tell you that police officers in Canada and specifically Ontario are police officers 24/7, and I imagine that is the same in the United States. We swear an oath. We become police officers. We give up that civilian life for the period of time that we are working, right up until we retire or quit. So what does that mean? It means that I am obligated to do certain things when off duty because I'm still a police officer. So if I see a crime in progress, I'm obligated to act. I can't just turn and say I'm off duty. I don't see this. No. It doesn't work. I'm involved. I'm responsible. So yeah, they do have the same authority 24/7. That's how it works. Okay, let's see here. Rules on drifting on snow in an empty parking lot. Well, in Ontario, there is a thing called the Highway Traffic Act, and our Highway Traffic Act was amended September 12th of this year, and stunt driving was added to the private property, or at least the extension of stunt driving laws were now covering private property as of the 12th. So what does that mean? It means if you're drifting, you could be charged with stunt driving, which means you would get a 14-day impound of your vehicle, a 30-day suspension, and a nice big charge telling you to go to court. TPS Gordo and TPS Wift, I don't know how to pronounce your username, but hello to both of you. Welcome. You guys are coming in through, let's see, you're on Instagram. Q just let me know you were here. I've got 3 screens, so I wasn't ignoring you. But thank you, Q, for letting me know that they came in to say hello. Okay. Why do police always wear sunglasses? Curious. I don't always wear sunglasses. So many wear because we're outside in the sun and we want to protect our vision, probably. But I don't always wear sunglasses, so it's not an always thing. Oh, it's Swift. That makes a lot of yes.
Love breaking down these usernames for you.
Thank you. I'm like TPS Swift. Yeah, I wasn't getting it, but I know DP. I know Officer Swift. Okay, what's going on? Okay. Ryan Pinn with some advice because he is a driving instructor, so he's got more winter advice for all the folks who are going to be newer drivers. Actually, for any driver. Winter driving. Allow for more time to get to your destination, which includes the time it takes to clear all the snow from your vehicle. Great advice, and thank you for bringing it up because you know what, snow brush, really important piece of kit. A good one makes a big difference. There are different types of snow brushes, and I would go for the one that moves snow and doesn't just comb it because I've had snow brushes that are suboptimal at best. I got a big one with an extension. I drive a big truck, so I want to be able to get all the snow off. But here's the thing. If you don't clear your windshield properly, guess what? You're eligible for a fine, a charge for having an obstructed view for the driver. But what about the snow on top of your vehicle, the people that just decide they're going to let it fall off on its own? That's a load. You're transporting snow. You may not have put it there, but it's on there and you're responsible for it. So if that snow flies off and causes issue, you could be charged for insecure load. Actually, even if just having it there, it's not secure. You're not preventing it from falling off. So you could be ticketed for insecure load and not good.
Tell them how much it costs.
The fine, I believe it's $110. $110 fine for not clearing the snow off your car. That's not a nice way to start your day, but it is something totally preventable, and all you need is a snow brush to do it. Let's see here. I'm going to look it up because now I'm curious. Is insecure load 110? I think it is. Insecure load. No, it's 160. Look at that. $160. No points though, so happy days. Okay. Linda wants to know if all-season tires are okay. All-season tires are not all-season tires. They're more like 3-season tires. They're better than no tires. They're better than summer tires, but they are not ideal. So when we talk about all seasons, that sort of takes you through 3 of them, and then you get into winters for winter. Better than nothing, but they're not perfect. Ryan Pinn
Sorry.
says he wants to know if you can use a ratchet strap to hold down my snow. I imagine you'd need something else to secure it. But you know what? If you're taking that effort to do it, you'd at least get brownie points. Okay. What do you like? So what is this? What do you like so mine donuts? I don't know if you mean. I don't know what you mean. Let's see. In any case, my name, I'm just going to reset the room. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service here in Ontario, Canada, and I go live on social media answering your traffic and police questions. We do it for an hour, Monday to Friday. Mind you, this week, it's not going to be our regular set programming. I'm on tomorrow at 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock, but Thursday, it's going to be an evening show because I have to go out of town, so I'll be streaming from my hotel. And Friday, we're not going to have a show because I'll be in transit coming back to the city. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, can you deport a U.S. citizen for a traffic infraction? Generally speaking, we don't deport U.S. citizens for simply a ticket. No. But if that person, I haven't had a situation where an American citizen had been staying illegally in the country beyond the 6 months that they're allowed to. So they fell into a category called overstay. They didn't have a visa to stay longer. So they were in violation by a couple of years. So what happened was the border agency was notified. That person was held in custody until that person could be taken into custody by border services, and they were in fact deported. So it does happen, but not for a speeding ticket. Not for that wasn't the reason they were deported. They had been hanging out. Okay. Let's see here. Is it illegal to overtake at 160? So it's illegal to exceed the speed limit for any reason. So if the posted speed limit is 100, technically 101 or 100.5, if you're exceeding the speed limit at all, it's technically illegal. Will you get a ticket for doing 5 over? I can't say. Maybe, maybe not. At 160, that's stunt driving. Not only will we take your vehicle for 14 days, charge you as a stunt driver, take your license for 30 days. So we're impounding your vehicle, charging you. You're going to be going directly to court, not necessarily the next day, but you're going to be given a court date. It's a very serious charge. Okay. Are fines problematic during background checks? So it depends on what you're applying for. If you want to become a police officer, yeah, anything in your driving record is problematic. Why? Why would it affect you? Well, think about this. If you want to be a police officer and you don't respect the laws that you are one day going to be enforcing or claiming that you wish to enforce, that is problematic. It is something that suggests you might not be the right person for the job. And not everybody should be a police officer. You know, it's not the job for everybody. And if you can't drive and follow the laws, you may be one of the people that it's not for. So if you have tickets, it's not the end of the world. Change your behavior today. As of today, drive within the rules. And then you have a better chance of saying, I made a change. I want to be a police officer and I made a change. Okay. So how do you regain traction if you lost it? Ryan might want to jump in on this, but ultimately, reduce the power to your wheels so they stop spinning, because spinning wheels just keep spinning. So no matter if you give it more gas, you're really not doing anything but continuing to spin. Let off the gas is probably the thing. Steer it, and then there's techniques for recovering from loss of control. But taking the power away from the wheels, probably a good place to start. And now there's a whole sub-conversation here about how to transport snow. A weighted blanket, ratchet straps. We're going a deep dive into that. I'm glad it's a source of entertainment. Okay. Do you get pepper sprayed during police training? Yes, you do. Let's see here. If you own the property, can be charged with stunt driving for stunt driving on private property. The way I read the law, it says yes. It says any private property, regardless of ownership. Now, that being said, there are exemptions for private tracks. So if you had I assume a licensed track, I don't know anything about the business of. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I thought Sergeant Campbell was jumping in to weigh in on. But so the deal is that right now the law says it's just simply not legal. It lists private fields, farmer fields, parking lot. I mean, everything, underground, above ground. They listed everything. It was a really detailed list. And the only two things that were exempt were racetracks and go-kart tracks. Now, I don't know what is required to make it a go-kart track or a racing track. So there is obviously a way to go about getting that done. And that's the only time that it's not illegal. Okay. Can I drive without a license but driving good? You may be a good driver, but if you are unlicensed, you can't do it on the road, no matter how good you are. Okay. We're back to donut questions. Let me see here. I don't know what the added lighting underneath either side. Added lighting either inside or underneath the car. I'm assuming you mean, is it legal? Adding it and not using it, no problem. Inside the car, no problem. You can use it as long as it's not flashing red, blue, or green. Pretty much it's okay. Like putting it in the wheel wells or the foot wells of your vehicle, no problem. My car came with it stock from the factory. You can even change the color from the dashboard. When you talk about underglow, that neon glow, whether it be LED or neon, that's an issue if it's visible in certain directions, if it's certain colors. So I would suggest against it, or at the very least not to be used while you're driving. Car meetups, are they legal or illegal? Well, that is a very, very broad question. Meeting up with friends in a parking lot isn't an issue, generally speaking, and assuming there's no contravention to any laws currently in effect, whether it be normal or pandemic times. So as long as you're not breaking any of those rules, hanging out for coffee, generally not a problem, assuming you're not trespassing or any other thing. But if you get into burnouts and donuts and drag strips and things like that on private property or anywhere for that matter, it's a problem. And that's where legal becomes illegal. There may be more to it, but basically, yeah, again, meeting up with friends isn't a problem. What age do you have to be? Sorry, Ed, what age do you have to be to? I can't read this question properly. What age do you have to be to own a gun? It depends on the place that you live. In Canada, I believe you have to be 16 to get a possession acquisitions license. You have to have passed a test. Taken a course and passed the test. I think it's 16. I was 16. No, it was 18? 12? Oh, we have to look it up. I was 16 when I got my gun license, I think. Maybe I was 18 when I bought my first gun. I don't remember. We're going back a long time. I'm old. I'm old-ish. I'm not old. But you know what? We'll come back to that. We're going to look it up. But it's different in Canada and the United States. So it depends on where you are. I know that use of gun with supervision is different. But anyway. Can you be in an intersection turning left? Well, usually you have to be in an intersection in order to turn left. Do you mean charge the intersection? Let's see here. Q says 12 to 17 as minors. Are you according to the RCMP? Okay. And Sergeant Campbell is concurring. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I guess because hunting and whatnot. Let's see here. To get so it's a specific license called a minor's license.
Yes, it is a separate one from an adult license.
Okay, so there's an adult license and a minor's license. You have to be between 12 and 17 years old, take the Canadian Firearms Safety Course, and pass the tests. When you're 18, you will no longer be eligible for a minor's license, and you have to apply for a PAL. So I guess with a minor's license, I wonder if that allows you to go into a store and buy one, or if it's something that I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, it means I actually, it's for borrowing non-restricted firearms for approved purposes, learning about the use.
In order to possess or borrow.
Possess or borrow.
So you cannot buy.
Interesting. Okay. You know what? We don't generally talk about firearms on this show. So it's interesting to go down the rabbit hole once in a while. And thank you, Q and Sergeant Campbell, for looking up and going on. How can I become a traffic police officer in BC? Well, I have no idea. I assume it's much the same as how you become an officer in Ontario, and that is apply for a service. You have to meet the minimum qualifications to become a police officer, and we are police officers. We're not the traffic police. There are organizations in, it might be British Columbia, that have, is it sheriffs? That's Alberta sheriffs. In Alberta, they have sheriffs that don't do regular policing. They do prisoner transportation, and they also do traffic enforcement on certain roads. They're armed, they do things, but they're not police officers per se. Now, when you if you talk about BC, I wish I knew more about their local policing, but you probably have to become a police officer first and then later become a specialist in traffic, which is what it is here. I was a police officer. I've done a number of jobs, but ultimately I became a police officer first. Was a PRU. I responded to 911 calls like everybody else, and then when there was an opportunity to come work in traffic, I applied for that opportunity. Rarely does someone go directly into traffic, although it does happen on occasion. How long can we use an international license in Ontario? Good question. So if you're visiting, that's one thing. Generally speaking, I think it's 6 months it's good for. If you are a resident, you have 30 days to apply for a local license. The minute, however, you do apply for a local license and get your G1, for instance, your international license is no longer valid and accepted here. Your Ontario license immediately becomes the valid one that we would use to govern you. Okay. Let's see here. What did I ask of Santa for Christmas? I asked him for no impaired driving on the roads from everyone. Honestly, I'm doing pretty good. I don't need anything from Santa. Hanukkah, Harry, all of them got me covered. It's all good stuff. I'm not looking for anything. But my whole holiday theme is no drinking and driving. So if you'd be so kind as to not drink and drive, not to drive impaired, and make our roads safer for everybody, I'd appreciate that. Okay. Is having an advanced license better from policing? I don't know what you mean. Like, do you mean like you've got you can drive big rigs? Do you have a wider category of vehicles that you can drive? Advanced in what way? Maybe it's terminology from a different jurisdiction, but like we have G-class licenses that cover some vehicles, and then you have, having air brakes or designations or being able to drive a big rig like a commercial license. Those things are great because we need people to be able to move some big vehicles that we have. So those things are great, and we have a lot of members who do have that. Heck, we have mechanics who are members. So it is anything that is an expanded and a greater knowledge base and experience base is beneficial. Okay, if I don't have my G2 license with me when I'm driving, so you don't physically have your card with you, what happens when you get pulled over? Well, you can get a ticket for fail to surrender license upon demand. So a police officer comes up and says, license, ownership, and insurance. You're obligated under law as the driver to supply those things. If you can't, charges for one or more of those could be coming your way. And unfortunately, no photo of your license to act as an option. You can't show me a JPEG of it. Doesn't work. You got to have your actual license. That is changing, but it hasn't changed yet. I go with today's news. So Sergeant Campbell brought up the fact that there are processes in the works to change and bring in a a electronic license or ID, which would cover all sorts of things for various purposes. So if you went to the liquor store to buy liquor and you only wanted to show your ID to verification, they would only show the ID portion that is required for qualifying you as a purchaser. So it provides some interesting and secure measures, which I think are great. Like if I can show you that I'm 18 or 21 or whatever the age threshold is I'm trying to prove and not show you where I live, I think that's pretty cool. Okay. Does a charge stay on your record if dropped in traffic court? Well, a charge, excuse me. Does it stay on your record? No, it's dropped. It's never been on your record. So it doesn't stay on your record because it never went on your record. A conviction stays on your record after a conviction is registered. It's not dropped, though. A registered conviction means you were found guilty or you paid it, which is the same thing. Yes. Okay. What happens if you get into an accident with a G2? And I think it's the same person who wanted to know about what happens if you get into an accident and you didn't have your license with you. The deal is that if you get into an accident with your G2, it's no different than being in an accident or collision. We don't call it accidents, but with a G, you're investigated. You're either charged or not charged. You're guilty or you're responsible for it or not responsible for it, and you move on. Now, in terms of as a learner, there is a difference in how points affect you. So the Ministry of Transportation, for different charges, if you're charged under the Highway Traffic Act, give you a different number or a different threshold. So if you have a full license, I think you can get to 15 points before you're suspended. With a learner's permit, you have a lower threshold to meet before you receive notifications to improve your driving or to potentially be suspended. So where a charge for careless, for instance, carries 6 demerit points, 6 demerit points as a learner may put you out of the program very quickly. So be careful, be cautious, drive within the law, and that's the advice. How many demerit points do you lose for going 100 over? Well, it's stunt driving. So 100 over is over the 50. So 100 over may even be criminal. That might just go to jail. It really depends on. Yeah, it could be considered dangerous driving because that is 100 over is a ridiculous speed to be traveling. Along with the stunt. So you could be charged criminally for dangerous driving and additionally stunt driving, which is anything over, it depends on the speed limit of the road you're traveling on, but if it's a speed limit under 80 kilometers an hour, you only need to do 40 over to reach a stunt driving charge. If it's a speed limit over 80 or over, it's 50 kilometers over, and it's on any road or anywhere at all, 150 kilometers an hour is by virtue on its own stunt driving. So, yeah, not a good day. The points, forget points. You get a 30-day suspension on your license, and you get a 14-day impound of the vehicle, regardless if you are the one who owns it, which is always a shock. What do you mean? It's my mom's car, and she won't be driving it for 14 days.
Just so you know, a 50-kilometer and over speed ticket, not a stunt driving ticket, carries 6 demerit points.
Okay. Just now, a 50 kilometer an hour over speed limit ticket, carries 6 demerit points. Sergeant Campbell just mentioning that. So in terms of points for 100 over, that doesn't double. It would probably stay 6 points at that point. For speeding.
Then you get a stunt drive.
Right.
Then you could.
Are there points for stunt driving in addition? Oh, okay. I have to look up what this. Actually, I wonder what the points are. Let's see here. Stunt. We both have these wonderful little lookup thingamabobbers. Stunt and 6 points for stunt too. So you'd be at 12 points. So 50 over 6, 50 or more over 6. Stunt driving is 6. How about dangerous? Any points on a criminal? I guess no points on the criminal. No points on criminal. You might go to jail, but you don't get any points. What happens if a police officer, or in this case, a cop, crashes their police car? They get investigated. If they're found to be at fault, they may be documented. They may be charged under the HTA. Both are an option. Now, when we're involved in collisions, oddly enough, police service takes that very seriously. We have cameras in our cars. We're GPS monitored. And if we're at fault, we are held accountable.
Yeah, we could be charged under the Police Services Act along with.
And Sergeant Campbell just adding that not only can you be charged under the Highway Traffic Act, disciplined internally, but also charged under the Police Services Act. So everything we do is very closely monitored. Oh, do you guys really like donuts? If so, which ones? Well, I think the truth is, if we're really being honest, everybody likes donuts, except those odd, outliers that don't like things that make people happy. Which ones? My favorite happened to be Krispy Kreme. If I had to say one donut in particular, it has been my favorite since the first time I tried it, and that is a raspberry-filled Krispy Kreme donut. That is my favorite. Apple fritter, you and my wife would get along. Apple fritter, and I got to say, an apple fritter is a close second to the raspberry filled. And because I don't get to see Krispy Kreme, they're not very popular, or they're not all over the place. I very rarely get an opportunity. And somehow, whenever people like Brandon bring donuts in, I never get the raspberry filled. I think he's mocking me or specifically trying to harass me. Very rarely, if there's an assorted, somehow I get the lemon filled by accident. Yeah. Okay.
Never heard the end of it when he got it.
Oh, I hear. Yes. This is something still. I'm still the heart hurts. The heart hurts. I hit a parked car. What happens with my insurance? It pays. Your insurance will be responsible for covering the damage of the vehicle you struck. Generally speaking, yeah. Even if they claim on their insurance, there's something called subrogation, and that's where their insurance company calls your insurance company, and then you get to your insurance company through the back end. Will reimburse the other insurance company, but that's neither here nor there, because for the front end, for you, it doesn't really look any different. What's up, Q? Cardums.
Yes, Cardam's Earl Grey, thanks. Can you turn right on a red light from the second right-hand turning lane?
If they are both turning lanes, okay, great question. And Q's just bringing up in a situation where you approach an intersection, there are two marked right turn lanes. Can both of them make right turns on reds? The answer is yes. However, both lanes must turn into their appropriate lane. So if you make a right turn from the curb lane, it has to go to the curb lane. If you are making a right turn from the second from the curb lane, you must continue into the second from the curb lane. You can't go wide and go into the next lane over and so on and so forth. You must go into the appropriate lane. And it has to be done in safety. So you have to come to a complete stop if you are turning on or approaching a red light, and only when it is safe to do so can you enter that intersection to make your turn. But it's a great question, and many people, including myself, grew up thinking you couldn't. I thought it was the curb lane only. I sat there like an idiot while people honked at me. I was in the wrong. I became a police officer, and I done learned things.
People want to know if you're a real cop and why do you have, or are you ex-military?
Am I a real cop and am I ex-military? I am a real cop. I am a police officer. I've done a number of different jobs within the police service before becoming a police officer, but I am, in fact, a police officer with a badge and all that fun stuff. The epaulets on my shoulder are special epaulets only being worn by members who chose to participate for the month of November, which means today is the last day I'll be wearing them, at least this year. I look forward to wearing them again next year. Why am I wearing them? Well, it's because I want to show my support of military veterans and active military personnel. I appreciate what they do for us. They do an important job, and it's a selfless job. It is not a high-paying job in all cases. It is a tough job, and someone does it, and it's them, and I thank them for it. It was paid for by my money. We basically made a donation. They were $20. Came out of our pockets, and that money went to support programs for veterans in the city of Toronto. So I happily support that. In fact, I bought two pairs just so I can get $40 instead of $20, and I only got to wear one pair. But anyway, okay. Let's see. Let us see. What is considered criminal speeding? So dangerous driving is the charge, and what classifies as dangerous driving will be interpreted based on the actions, the risk to public safety and so on. So depending on what, where, how, it doesn't have to be 100 kilometers over or double the speed limit to be criminal. It could be less. It could be because they did something that was completely, that just met that grade. I'd have to read to you the whole code as to what the description is, but it isn't as high a bar as you might think. But we're not in the business of just charging people criminally willy-nilly. It has to be something that makes sense. So if you're speeding 40 over or 50 over, that may just be stunt driving. But if you're doing it in a school zone with kids present, I think that that's incredibly dangerous, and that might qualify for criminal. So each and every situation is different. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Pepe says, my good friend works in traffic services in Toronto, but investigates fatalities and other serious accidents. Well, that's pretty much what we do at traffic services. We have different sections within the service, within our unit. We have our primary response unit that goes to radio calls for any collision that has a driver or passenger who is injured and taken to hospital by ambulance. That's one of the reasons. Pedestrians, any kind of collision. Well, that's a serious collision because, well, they're all kind of serious. Minor collisions tend to go to a collision reporting center and don't involve police officers attending the scene, but that's another story. Now, when you talk about serious life-altering injuries or situations where lives are lost, well, we have not only our frontline officers, our regular officers who begin the investigations, but we also have a CIB, a Criminal Investigation Bureau, or a detective office, and they have resources that they put in as well. They do a whole bunch of things. So we also have a reconstruction unit. Those are very highly skilled officers who can actually, through mapping software and computer gizmos, and they have drones and all sorts of fun stuff, can recreate and determine so many details about a collision to assist the investigation. And their reports could be 100 pages. It's amazing how much work they put into these things, and it's very specialized. So for Pepe, I don't know which one of those sections your friend works at, but they're my colleague because they're in the same building as I am. Okay. Is the car in the back always in the wrong? I don't like words always because it's not always the person in the back. They may have some level of responsibility, but always is there are some situations where person in the back may not be. It depends.
Drink.
Sorry? Drink.
You drink, because I can hear it. But your viewers wanted to wish you happy Hanukkah.
Oh, I got a happy Hanukkah. Thank you very much. I like Christmaka. I really I love the whole holiday, Christmas, holiday season, and I love the Hanukkah stuff, and I want to blend it together because I like elements of both sides. So it's all good. So to anyone watching and celebrating Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah, happy Christmaka to those who celebrate both, and happy and Merry Christmas and holiday season to everybody else. And it's just, this is great. This is my favorite time of year. But effectively, it's tomorrow that I get to really start. Do we need Christmas lights in here? We might need Christmas lights. I think we have to do a Christmas decoration thing. So yes, thank you so much. And going back into, let's see, I'm going to go back into the pool and see what we got here. Why does Canada limit caffeine and energy drinks? I haven't the foggiest. I'm not involved in the food police, only the traffic police. So I don't know. Let's see here. Are you cool with the idea of mandatory body cams? Absolutely. We've been wanting them forever, and it's just a matter of financing them. It's expensive, but police definitely appreciate having an unbiased witness to what's going on, because very often we do things and then we're accused of other things. So having the protection of a video evidence is very, very good. And we've had video cameras and audio microphones on our system or on our person when we do traffic stops anyway. But this is just another angle. It's better. So we're not only cool with it, we're excited for it. Okay. How do you know if someone doesn't have insurance? I got this magical device. It's called a cell phone. I call the insurance company and I say, hey, is this policy valid? And here's the cool thing. I can suspect it. I can have a feeling, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to lay a charge unless I can effectively get confirmation. So there's a couple of avenues I can use to do that. But ultimately, for me, before I lay a charge, I'm laying a charge based on confirmation. And here's the funny thing. I have 3 years to lay that charge. So if I pull you over today and I don't think you have insurance, but you know what? We're going to check. And it's middle of the night and they're not open. No problem. I know where you live. I know what you drive. And I can look it up tomorrow and I can come to your house and serve you afterwards. And that's what I do. So yeah, no one, even if you don't get charged at the side of the road, you might get charged the next day. Let's see here. Oh, here's a great question coming in through Instagram. Can you drive on the highway after midnight with a G2 license? Yes, you can. You can drive 24/7 on a G2 license. However, you have a maximum number of passengers in the first 6 months and the second 6 months, and it depends on different criteria for those. So I think it's under 19 years old or under 18 years old, you can have a maximum of one passenger who isn't related to you in the first 6 months. And I can't remember the other ones. I have to look it up. The joys of having the internet, I can look those things up. Q. It was in the Q&A. Q's like, how are you getting this question on Instagram? I don't see that question on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, I was freaking out.
How'd they do that? Okay. We covered new drivers in the snow already. Rules for underlighting, we covered this one. Can police be on their laptop while they're driving? So here's the funny thing. We don't want to be distracted when we're driving. We don't want to or don't aim to or prefer not to be. However, there's elements of our job that require us to have access to information. We also have a huge service, so it's not always possible to wait for the dispatcher. But even using that handheld radio is technically using a handheld communication device. So as a result, we're exempt from that law. We have an exemption for our laptops, for our cell phones, for our police radios. We're permitted to. Does that mean we're going to use them all the time? No. We're going to take public safety into the mix, and if we can avoid it, we're going to. If we have to make a personal call, we're going to pull over. If we're calling about a hot shot, something important that we're on our way to because lives are on the line or it's relevant and we have to get there fast, no, we're not going to pull over because we're going to take a calculated risk. Now, does that mean we have special training? We do have special driver training. Does it make us possible to divide our attention? No, the human brain doesn't change just because we're cops. So there's risk involved. Is it risk that we're willing to take? Yes. because we're there to help other people. Now, does that mean everybody should not be paying attention with their full focus of their attention on driving? No, you should not be. The fact is, when we do it in small isolated situations, or as little as possible, the government has said it's allowable. When everyone's doing it, they're breaking the law. And I mean, when people outside of policing. Equally, police, fire, ambulance all have this exemption, and on different situations. Just like police, fire, and ambulance can go through traffic signals. They can use their lights to clear traffic, and nobody else can. It really tends to bug people that we are permitted to. And the way I look at it and the way I describe it is, we do it so we can help others. We don't tell people that, we're not making calls to say, can you let the dog out? Can you buy more toilet paper? I'm sure it's happened, but that's not the goal. Are you ex-military? No. I'm wearing these for the last time today, at least for this year, and it's just showing my support for our veterans and active service members, active military personnel. Let's see here. I want to try and grab a couple questions before you shut her down for the day. Where did I buy the slip-ons? These being the slip-ons. These were produced in conjunction with the Canadian Armed Forces and our Toronto Police Military Veterans Association to raise money for military programs or veterans programs in the city of Toronto. They were purchased through the Military Veterans Association. They're no longer available. It was a pre-order. I'm sure they'll be available again next year. If you're a police officer and you want to get them for your uniform, you should reach out to our Military Veterans Association next year when the program goes out again. Are you able to cancel tickets after you print them? If we haven't issued them and submitted them, they could be canceled. But once I've issued it, I issue it in the system, it's sent. We don't generally cancel them. Can I cancel them? I can apply to have them canceled, but why would I? I just issued you a ticket. So it depends. They have to be authorized. It's not just simply canceling it because I chose to. Can I do 100 kilometers an hour in the left lane? So here's the funny thing about the left lane. Assuming that 100 kilometers an hour is the speed limit, then it's a speed limit, and nobody can go beyond it. So 100 kilometers an hour is the speed limit and a lawful speed to be traveling in that lane. Now, if you're causing people to do, who are choosing to speed and put other people's lives at risk, and they're choosing to pass you on the right, that's an unsafe situation that even though you're lawful at 100 kilometers an hour, because of the unlawful activities of the speeder, they're forcing to go around you so that they can illegally speed. So I would rather charge the person who's doing 110 passing on the right than the person who's doing 100 in the speeding in the passing lane, not the speeding lane, the passing lane. And why is it a passing lane? It's so you can pass people who are going even slower that are in the right lanes. So there is no requirement to do 100 kilometers an hour. You can drive below it. You just can't drive so far below it that you're impeding traffic. And if you're going to be driving below the speed limit, you should be in the right lanes so that people can pass you. That's it. So can you do 100 kilometers an hour in the left lane? Yeah, legally you can. But because of the risk put onto others by people who choose to speed, you should do that 100 kilometers in anything but the passing lane unless you are actively passing. And that goes for anybody. But for the people who are choosing to speed, just to let you know, we actually do speed enforcement, and we do all sorts of wonderful things in the highways when you're not expecting it. And that's it. That's all the time we have for the day. It has been a blast. Thank you so much for spending time with us. We'll be back again tomorrow, and tomorrow will be the last 9 a.m. show for this week, but we will be back again on Thursday, probably in the early evening, where I get to do an hour from my hotel. And that'll be that. Have a great day. Instagram, you're out. We're saying goodbye for the day. Here we go.
Bye.
Bye.
Did you do the recording that we practiced?
Oh, no. Should I do that right now?
Does it work?
Well, I can't play it, but I can record a new one.
No, we could do it. Yeah.
No, we'll do it live. Okay. And for everybody on TikTok, it's been a blast. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again. And we're ending now.
Bye, TikTok.
I have to do a countdown of some kind. I never know. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Done.
Okay. And for everybody, for the diehard, the folks who love all the other platforms even more. I don't know, it's different. The folks that come into our YouTube and our TikTok, on our Twitters, it's a different feel. We're rectangular here. We're widescreen. Thank you so much, Linda, Ryan. We got Pepe. let's see who else. Who I don't want to leave anybody out. Big Jeff Fresh, of course, my wife. I think for those of you who have reached out, that's it. We got you all covered. Have a wonderful day. We will be back again tomorrow, and hopefully we see you again. So have a good one, and we'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Ciao. And happy Hanukkah. And Christmas.
Oh.
And Christmas.